Okay, we're recording.
And hole punches my paper. You're going to buy.
He got nothing else to do.
We'll go ahead and call to order.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and get started. If everybody would stand and say they pledge allegiance with us, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Jim Brown,
Yes, or here,
Edgar Decker,
sorry.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Here.
Richard Hill,
Here.
Joe Saylor.
Here.
We have a quorum.
This is yours.
Invocation. Slim, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Give us direction as decisions are made to help us better this community. Keep us all safe and give direction to those suffering or in need of guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Review and approval of the agenda. I think, Carmen, you had a change. Okay, we're good. Anyone on the council have any issues? Nothing? Okay. Minutes from February 11th, 2025. Questions, concerns, comments?
I didn't have them.
A motion?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. Have a second?
A second.
Brad and Joe, roll call, please.
Jim Brown,
Yes,
Brad Joe Decker.
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
passed 5-0.
Voucher packets, March 11th. Yes, I did have a question. The fund reports, all funds,
We're still running in 2024. I hope to get that all taken care of. Adam's working on that.
is that because of all the zeros? Is that why?
The budget hasn't been entered.
It's been entered, but I can't upload it. until
Completed.
24 is closed.
So when do you anticipate 24 close and when this will be updated?
I hope before the next meeting.
You promise or hope?
I hope. I would like for it to be done like tomorrow, but we're still tweaking and getting some items cleared up so we can move forward.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions, concerns on reports?
with all this Adam helping everything, we expect the next year probably gonna be where everything's where it should be. The dates will be right, times will be right, we'll get this settled before, cause this is getting redundant to have the same thing every time we come to the board meetings. Okay. Thank you.
And Melissa's process will also take care of all these negatives and stuff like that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the voucher packets at all?
No, sir.
Nothing?
Do approve.
Got a second on the table?
I'll second.
Brad and Joe again, so
Right here.
roll call vote.
Bother you being here. Okay.
Jim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Decker,
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson. Yes. Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
passed 5-0.
Melissa, financial reports?
The general fund is $480,814.54. The revenue is, for the general fund, is $72,170.70. General dispersed is $233,937.29. The sewer fund is $740,265.84. The sewer revenue is $78,763.55. Sewer dispersed is $96,056.47.
If I can stop you for a minute.
Yes.
So like some of those were, look like at least according to the scanner, like January's month end. So I mean, we can just look at it. And then, I mean, yeah, if there's, anything unusual, like, higher than normal revenue or higher than normal dispensed, I'd be interested to be like, oh, hey, like we're seeing this as higher because we had this particular, thing come up or something like that.
Okay.
But I thought I'd stop you, so you didn't have to.
Oh, no,
You can do that, so,
we've done that in the past.
okay.
Do you want me to read them all off, or do you just want to look at that?
You're reading January.
I'm reading January. Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So yeah, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we can just pull it up, and if there's something unusual, I mean, like in this case, I'm like, the sewer, fund balance continues to grow. We didn't, had a little higher than normal revenue, or double compared to last month, and no wild expenses, I don't think so. Is anything wrong there?
What does the highlighted yellow mean, the comment?
That one, for sewer improvement, that was a large expenditure for the interstate lift station, and that's what the large expenditure in February of 25 is also for payments for the interstate lift station.
Okay.
So, and then nothing out of line on the water. And then same thing on water improvement.
And what's the yellow highlight for January?
That is, for a while, I didn't want to highlight everything yellow, but that means it hasn't been reconciled.
Okay.
The interest for the bank accounts that we have is $23,249.60 is what we got in February.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I also have a form up there for you that I will need signed. I need to get permission to move some money from the FICA Medicare for fire into unemployment to make that negative go away. And that should be, December was the last payment we pay for unemployment moving forward.
Okay. Yes, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Because we don't have it.
No, he's saying it.
Okay, well, the side didn't have it.
have the pretty logo on it.
I like it.
I do too.
Do we need to vote on this verbally?
Yeah, so it sounds like it's an authorization, just transfer funds from one account to another.
Yes, well, appropriation to another appropriation.
Okay.
All right, I'll.
It's a 1-to-1, so you don't really have to have an authorization. You can transfer from a 1-to-1 or 2-to-2, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah. Is it inside the same,
Yep.
it's still better to have a motion to.
Hey, so I'll move to authorize Melissa to transfer $2,210.53 from the fire FICA Medicare appropriation to the fire unemployment appropriation.
Second it.
Mr. Decker, Mr. Saylor, a vote, please.
Tim Brown?
Yes.
Deborah Henry?
Yes.
Pass that back down.
Yes.
there. Don't get lost.
You were doing the things on the table because I was passing them down, they were getting all mixed up. They were doing the same thing.
Guarantee it.
Old business ordinance 2025-02.
This is the second reading of the adoption of the new flood damage prevention code. I don't think you all had any questions last time. So this will be the second reading and request for adoption.
And I have one question. Is this simply just some updated language for county code, or is this updating any sort of map or floodplain area?
It is only updating the language for FEMA, for the federal, and then it came down through the state through DNR, as requests that each municipality adopt the new ordinance language for the floodplain code. So it does not update any maps or any flood fringe, floodway, any of those maps.
Right. I'll move to approve 2025-03.
I'll second.
Guys are on a roll.
It's nice out.
Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Fred Joe Decker.
Yes.
Jennifer Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Taylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
Pascal Cornelius.
New business ordinance 2025-03, rezoning of property for Culvers.
So this is currently located, the current location of the parcel is 179 South US 31. It is a proposed Culver's restaurant site. Currently, it is a large triangle piece with most of it being down along the creek in a floodplain. But it is also has, part of the parcel is zoned residential. And just kind of make everything clean, we've asked that the property owner and the development rezone the entire parcel to commercial, so it all matches. So we didn't have any potential building ended up in part of the residential portion of the property. So this did go before the plan commission last week, and they provided a favorable recommendation to have this rezoned as commercial. The property owners as well as the developer is here to answer any questions that you may have.
What was the vote?
I believe
So
it.
it's 6-0 because we had one missing.
Okay.
Go ahead and put a bridge in.
Yes. I'm asking for a shoot.
There you go.
My name is Chris McGuire with the Foundation Corporation, and as Carmen just alluded to, we're hoping to build a Culver's restaurant. If there are any questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
And what company are you with again, sir?
McCowney Building Corporation.
I've got one question. With this flood zone there, we're not gonna encroach that at all, are we? Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Is this gonna be the standard size Culvers, or a smaller version, or the ones you see across Johnson County and the surroundings? Is it gonna be that particular size? And
It's referred to as, Culver's has small, medium, large, extra large. This is a large format store, and SNL Properties is the developer on this project. They go top shelf in their designs, so it's a little bit more unique than some of the other ones with some extra features on it.
okay.
And this is a franchise or a corporate owned store?
It is a franchise. There are only 6 corporate stores.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Do you build all of them?
No, we built a third of them.
Third?
Knowing my wife's feelings about Culver's, the way I cannot support this.
I'm excited.
Support it.
I will support it.
Well, I live across the creek from it, so if I could have a shoot. Culver's Creek. Straight right there to my house.
My biggest thing is just keeping the dirt and everything out of that drainage and making sure that we protect that at all times. And I'm sure your guys will make sure that.
Are they required to keep the property right along the creek there, or is that the county still?
The county only has an easement.
Right.
75-foot easement from the center of the legal drain or ditch there. But it is all of that area that is down by the creek is undevelopable because it's in a floodplain.
Right, but sometimes pine trees get this, start sprouting from,
It'd be their responsibility to mow it, to maintain it.
okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's what's good for you guys who live close. It will actually start being maintained and look probably kept grass nice and cut. Because Culver's, I mean, their building's nice. They're not going to want something to look bad in a new store.
No.
Question to Slim. Slim, we worked out all the concerns you had with the water connection and all that.
Yeah.
We're good with all that?
Water and-
Water, sewer?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll probably hook to that manhole in that back property, won't they?
Yeah.
Right back here in the corner.
Part of the commitment of it was town not being liable since they're looking into the interceptor.
What kind of timeframe is there on this?
I'm sorry.
No, pardon me. What kind of timeframe is there on this? Like, when do you hope to break ground? How long do you think construction will take?
We have to go through finish the permitting processes. And physical construction will take less than 6 months.
Thank you.
So you'll have them put a check valve on that, won't you? Okay, that's what I was curious. And they'll take responsibility, because we're only responsible for the connection that goes into the existing manhole, and they're responsible for the lateral on that, right?
Any other questions?
I have none. I think it's great.
Do too.
I'm gonna move to approve. That'll give me some brownie points.
Mr. Saylor, Mr. Godecker, roll call, please.
Tim Brown?
Yes.
Brian Gooddecker?
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson?
Absolutely.
Joe Taylor?
Yes.
Richard Hill?
Yes,
Passed 5-0.
thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Richard, before we move on past this project,
Yes, sir.
we talked about the water and the sewer and so forth. And associated with it, we will have a water main extension agreement that will need to be executed, and easements that will need to be obtained by them and transferred to us, and some other related documents. And I would request and suggest that you authorize your staff and me to work those out and get those executed when they're ready.
Have any issues with that?
On that.
I have no issues with it, because they're the ones that
Either
are gonna
vote
come
or
on it.
consensus.
I'm good with it.
I mean,
Aye.
All right.
Consensus.
Yep.
Thanks for bringing that up. Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, I would assume that would have been done in the layout form of it when they start bringing construction plans in.
Carmen, Resolution 2025-03, updated comprehensive plan.
Finally ready to present the revised comprehensive plan. As you recall, this was funded primarily through a grant from Okra. They provided us with a $15,000 grant. The town's match $15,000. So for $15,000, we were able to get a revised comprehensive plan. We emailed this out to you all just because.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not in the packet.
Document.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was like,
Okay. So hopefully some of these reading material, hopefully we did kind of skim through it, and we had a committee that was brought together to kind of review, get input. We had public session, and maybe I'm stealing the thunder of Adam Keeper. But HWC helped us put this together, and like I said, we're ready to request that the town council adopt the revised comprehensive plan. We also have Mike Kleinpeter here, who is our grant administrator, to help us make sure we've dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's with Okra. And then later in the meeting, I've got something else in regards to our final kind of wrap up with the grant, if you all choose to approve it. So I'll answer any questions, and then I know there's a public hearing, so if you guys have questions for Mike or Adam, they're both here to assist as well.
Carmen, before you, excuse me, so I know that was a big document and scanned through it and so forth, and, it had the solution, recommendation, solution, and so forth. So, was there anything that stood out that potentially you had issue with or need to rework or anything like that? Kind of, can you give us a broad brush? Were you okay with the 150-page document?
Yeah, I scrubbed through it with a red pen, so Adam loved getting my feedback on that. But no, everything in there, there were a couple of areas that were different than what we didn't have in our current comprehensive plan, and that was only because it was an Okra requirement. But I think it's important that it was broadband, and also there was historic preservation. In our current comprehensive plan, it does kind of talk about what we have that's historical in the town of Whiteland, but there were just certain chapters that Okra required that wouldn't necessarily have been in every comprehensive plan unless it was through that type of funding. Is there any other chapters that were required that
Yeah, no, I'll agree completely. With the Okra funding comes a requirement to meet their minimum technical requirements for comprehensive plans. And so that is why the document is organized the way it is and with the chapters that are there. So there's 17 chapters and there's essentially 12 or 13 of those, excuse me, are kind of topic focused. So land use, transportation, government, fiscal capacity. But yeah, things like agriculture, we obviously see as more important on a county level, typically at the town level. If you're annexing property within the town limits, probably the long-term future use is in agriculture. So that one's a little lighter, wouldn't probably otherwise be included. But Carmen's Point, broadband, historical and archaeological resources, and things like that. Within each of those topic chapters, and again, Okra has their format and what to include, which is a vision statement. We have a brief introduction, kind of summarize key findings related to that topic, either through our analysis or what we heard in our community engagement efforts, which included a workshop at the Nair Event Center. We had an online survey, worked with the steering committee to kind of develop some recommendations and then confirm those with the community at an open house that was here in Town Hall. But then each of those topic chapters also has an existing condition section, public input, the goals and strategies, and then the kind of action projects to give it more day-to-day life. I know it's a big document. Again, I think if we could, we would concise it or make it more concise if we could, with the technical requirements. It ends up being very long.
Was there anything added that we didn't have before? Specific, I mean, just
Yeah,
not amended, but completely added.
Completely added. I mean, I think one of the big things certainly is just your geographic expansion that's happened since the last comprehensive planning process in 2011, right? So including recommendations certainly out to the interstate, and we have taken the liberty and planned for some areas outside of town limits. You don't have planning and zoning jurisdiction over that right now, but they could reasonably, if they were to develop, I think be assumed that they would require town services and then certainly we'd see annexation. There's some consistent themes. What we did at the start of the process was kind of hold the steering committee on what some of those previous goals or objectives were still relevant. You know, what was crossed off the list, what was still important but maybe hadn't been completed. I think key themes were certainly continuing efforts to strengthen the downtown, kind of aesthetic appearance and kind of general corridors, US 31 and then Main Street and Whiteman Road. And then the other big one that I know you all have been working on is establishing the park board and then improvements to the properties that you have accepted dedication of for future park improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your efforts, sir.
The one question I had was related to the parks, and with the target to establish a park board. We have one.
We do now.
We do now,
I
okay.
know.
Nope, okay, that was what I thought.
Yeah, we've already checked that box.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was my only
We had
question.
our first meeting last week.
Yeah, and so like Carmen said, we're coming up on a year of this process. We started with the steering committee, I think last April. Again, with the grant funding, we submit a draft to them and they get 60 days to review it. Then they provided some comments, we addressed those, and then they had another 30-day review period. So certainly a lot of the work was kind of front-loaded last summer and through the fall, and then waiting on that review and some revisions.
And from a grant perspective, we're good? Could you touch base on that, sir?
Good evening, council and public. Mike Kleinpeter, Kleinpeter Consulting Group, the grant administrator on the project. Okra has reviewed the plan. As Adam stated, they have approved the plan. Tonight's the second public hearing, which will wrap up the plan, and then we've got some closeout forms to sign, which Carmen's gonna talk about, and then we are done. So Okra is happy and says this meets their requirements.
Okay.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Any other questions from the
No,
council?
I have none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We need to make this a public hearing.
Okay, so at this time, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Would anybody like to speak on behalf of this topic? Going once, going twice? Oh, okay. Could you come up, please? State your name, address, and, oh, be careful.
I just have a question. Carrie Miller, C-A-R-I-E, Miller, 590 Ardmore Drive. Is the comprehensive public plan, or comprehensive plan a public document? That's my
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Okay,
There's a website, planwhiteland.com, that it's out there now.
okay.
But then we will make sure that it's on the town website once it's adopted.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Comments or concerns on our behalf? Do we have a motion on the table?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we're going to my right now. So Mr. Brown and Ms. Debbie, roll call vote, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Goodbecker,
Yes.
Amber Hendrickson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes?
that's 5-0.
Oh, sorry.
Professional service agreement, HWC Engineering.
So this is conforming to a professional service agreement to GIS map our water infrastructure. We're doing this currently, finishing up with the sewer. Theirs also includes an asset management plan, the sewer does, but this is strictly just to get our GIS, or our water utility infrastructure GIS map. We do not have the equipment yet, nor do we have the manpower to go around and gather all the information. Get all the points and pipe size and valves and things of that nature. So I had asked HWC, they have been our primary engineer on our water system. I asked them to put together a quote to GPS map our system. The fee is $48,500, which we would pay for water improvement. And I would request if you all would so choose that I could sign this professional services agreement and enter into the contract with HWC to get our water system. And I will add that for the most part, moving forward with any large projects that we take on regarding water or sewer or any of our infrastructure will require all of this, will require an asset management plan, and this is one step closer to the asset management plan, is getting all of our infrastructure GPS mapped. So,
We would require the contractor to do it, or developer to do it, correct? The developer would turn, for new infrastructure, he'll do it and turn it into our GIS guy, and then he'll put it on our maps.
correct. For any new development, like you said, when we get the as-bills, we can then upload that into our GIS system.
Okay.
But this is to take what's existing.
Correct.
And we'll give them what as-bills we have, but we have a lot of infrastructure pre 2018, 19, when we started getting as-bills.
Carmen, refresh my memory. So we're also doing this with the infrastructure and the sewer lines, right?
Correct.
So same company?
No, Westward is doing the sewer.
Okay, because of the sewer, okay.
Right, so HWC, like I said, has primarily been our water engineering firm. And they have our master plan, they did our master plan for us, and we updated our master plan to kind of look at the growth and expansion out, not only the residential, but also the industrial out. So they, like I said, they've been the one who's primarily been looking at it.
So with two separate entities doing two different things, is all the communication all gonna overlap and not gonna have, I mean, because you're gonna have your sewer GIS that they're doing, and then you're gonna have your water GIS, all that's gonna overlap and it's gonna communicate together
So
and.
we have in our GIS system, you can turn on different layers.
Mhm.
And so you can enter and all of the mapping. So I can go in there and I can look at manholes, I can look at the main, the force mains, the interceptor, I can look at all that data within there, and then, like you said, overlay that. We've also added streets in there, and so it's you know, we can just keep putting the layers on top of layers to help us just getting everything electric.
So both firms, both software that they're using is compatible with each water and each sewer, right?
They're putting it into the town's.
Okay.
GIS system. Yeah.
So, or even if they, you know, like right now I have like Westler is using a different login, and then like they're uploading it like almost like a beta until they get everything loaded, and then we can move it over into the towns like, okay, this is finished, and make sure that, you know, certain people can get in there
And with all this GIS and this overlay and this layering, do we have enough capacity, cloud servers and backups to make sure that we won't lose data once we compile all this information?
So
We're
pay,
covered?
Yeah, we pay a subscription to Esri. I don't know what that acronym stands for, to be honest. You guys hear
Environmental Services Resource or Incorporated.
We do the same thing.
Yeah, so we pay an annual subscription to Esri, and it's all housed within that.
Okay.
There is like a mobile app that we can use, Field Maps, so if we're out in the field, we can pull that up and, you know, look at different things there too, so.
And that's what I was gonna ask, like, on mine, it says Tim's Maps. So when I pull mine up on my iPad, it shows me storm, sewer, and water. And then it can pinpoint where I'm at and tell me what valves there, anything. The only thing I've seen in this contract, it says that they're not responsible to dig anything up, excavate anything or not. But I'm assuming that most of our fire hydrants got valves on them. Well, I know in Chadlow, there's several valves what are buried and covered up. Are we gonna send a crew out to start kind of finding some of this before we really get into the heavy GIS, and that way we can get what we need to get? Because I know, because I was walking the other day looking, because once I read this, and I started seeing, like I said, some of the older hydrants, I know some people didn't put valves in it. It happens in all areas. But I just, with all of them in there, I found some valves, I didn't see some valves. Are we gonna just double check on our end to make sure that most of the stuff's up for they could GIS it as they're going? That way we're not wasting time or money.
Yeah, I mean, they'll track it down, or we'll track it down.
Okay, that's all I was asking, just to make sure that you got someone what's willing to, you know, what we can work with them to keep them going. Like in our area, if we know they're gonna do a street, what we try to do is we go over there and start walking and make sure we can find most things meter pit, which we don't have a lot of meter pits here. We got the little shut-offs and stuff like that. Well, at my house, the shut-off's backwards. My shut-off on my side shuts my neighbor off, and his shut-off on my side shuts my side off, because how I found out, because the neighbor didn't pay his bill. They shut my water off. They shut my water off, so I called Randy. Said, Randy, why's my water off? I paid my bill. And that's when he come out and told me that they were crisscross. Luckily, it's not been a problem.
And what Westler did with the sewer is, because we have some manholes that are buried, is they just made us a list and then gave us an opportunity to go out there and unbury them.
Perfect.
To get out from the snow. So I think if they would run into any issues and they can't find something on, like you said, the fire hydrant.
Well, there's probably a lot of them over in some of these older areas that they probably put that on.
Right. And that's a good possibility, but when some do and some don't, kind of leads to me to think most of them. But it's just one thing, like there's one in the sidewalk's been leaking down there. Can't think of the road, but it's in my addition, but it leaks in the winter. We shut it off and then it stops leaking, stuff like that. So I was just curious to make sure that you were having someone, or you yourself was going out with them and just making sure that they could get all they could collect at one time. Because it's a nice system once it's correct. If it's not correct, it's not fun at all.
And the other cool thing with this is we can give them different data points that we want to collect. So we want the age of the, you know, or estimated age. And so then that helps with replacement. So if we come across, you know, hydrants that don't have valves on them, then we can maybe earmark those as quickly to be replaced as we look to replace hydrants. Or, you know, the other thing that we find a lot of is that there's still a lot of meters in houses. So, you know, getting meter pits and, you know, just different things like that. And so it has a lot of cool features that we can add in. And that's what I did with the streets is I had them upload how I have to do a PACER rating every year and rate the road. Was able to kind of input that data. And then, so I can go in and I can click on, you You know, I want all my roads that are rated at 5 or below, meaning that they most likely need some major work happening here in the next few years, and then that helps us with grant opportunities for that example, for community crossings or things of that nature. So,
I like it. We use it a lot, and I really think it's a good product for the town. I support it 100% because I think it's something that we're going to in the future is going to be there. It's going to help you guys at 2:00 in the morning when you're out there trying to look for stuff. You can pull the map up right there. It shows you. I mean, it's just a tool that works very, very well if all the data is put in correctly.
right now, our physical water maps show water lines on one side of the road and they're on the other.
That's what I was gonna say, I mean, we have some water maps, but you gotta have 3 eyes to read them.
We've run into a few of them at our place.
Carmen, one last question. So last page, appendix D, lump sum compensation. So 48.5. They're not gonna come back and request more money once they dive into it. 60 days, like the Wesley came back, right? This number is the number.
Well, there is like a little
Well, I understand,
additional.
yeah, well, I understand without authorization of the client,
Right,
so
yes.
we wanna make sure with it, the number is the number.
Right.
I mean, they're going off what we tell them.
Exactly.
So the point is, and we could be wrong.
Right.
So I understand, I hate change orders and I hate all that myself. But I do understand when sometimes we only know so many and then we bump into a couple more.
And that was a perfect example was back on the Westward.
Yes.
We thought we only had about 600 manholes and we ended up over 700. I think it ended up, they came back asking for like 750 maybe, but we ended up just hair over 700 manholes.
Right. They do the best they can.
So moved, I would ask for you to
A motion,
I'll move to approve.
second,
I'll second.
Joe and Tim, roll call please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Gojeker, Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Bruce Taylor,
Yes.
Yes,
passed 5.
thank you, Carmen. Additional voucher packet.
So this is back to the Okra. The voucher packet has not yet been created, but it will, we would like to try to get this finished by the end of the month to close out. And so my request is to pre-approve a voucher packet. These are the 2 vouchers that would be included. Right here, I put it in, you should have had it in your packets. It was dated March 5th, comprehensive plan adoption and approval of final bill. So the bill, we received that after the council packets had been prepared and after the voucher packets had been created. The total amount that's owed to HWC the remaining amount is $24,400. 20,000 of it will be paid from Okra funds, but we first have to go request those funds and wait for those to be deposited into our bank account, and then we'd like to write that check for the 20,000. The remaining 4,400 is part of our match, that then would have to be paid out of, the lit money, which we asked to be encumbered at the end of last year. So I guess my question is, our goal is to get it finished and closed out by the end of March, so we don't have to ask Okra for an extension for the project. So once we do the drawdown from Okra for the remaining grant dollars, we'd like to ask if you all would allow us to go ahead and create a voucher packet and for us to get this paid, these 2 checks sent out and paid to HWC by the end of the year so we can close out, or end of the month so we can close out the Okra project, so. Like a pre-approval of a voucher packet.
So you want it paid in March instead of April then?
Correct.
Any concerns with that? Any concerns over here with this?
As long as it works for Stephen.
As long as it works for the clerk treasurer.
If I mean,
Do we need consensus or should we have a vote on that since
I would vote on it.
okay. Have a motion on the
I'll make a motion.
second motion?
I'll second.
So Debbie and Joe vote, roll call?
Jim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Godecker, Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Chris Miller,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
passed 5-0.
And I have a part two for this. Now that you've approved that I can pay the bill, if by the end of the month we've got everything and all of our payments made, I would request that I have the approval to sign the Okra grant closeout documents. So that's, I think I put it in your packet, maybe not. There's a couple sheets of paper that we've got to sign and submit to Okra, just saying we've dotted all the i's, crossed all the t's, and we're ready to close out the project. So I would request that now that we can pay the final bill, that I can sign it.
So there's no additional monies other than the 24-4. This is just an approval to sign and close the document. I have no issue with that, anybody?
I don't either.
Consensus, you're okay. Thank you. Commonwealth Engineers next.
Now that we've got all of them, I'm gonna wait in line, we gotta get this food department resolved. So we Slim, and, Dale Witt, the representative of Commonwealth Engineers, has been arguing, fighting, strong bully, really expressing their concerns with the integrity of the foundation of the street garage as it is. So when the tornado happened, and then insurance came back and said, oh yeah, you can rebuild it. So, Slim was concerned with the integrity of the structure, building on top of something that had had that much damage, and so engaged with Dale to kind of have that conversation with the insurance company and explain from an engineering perspective. So it took until December for them for insurance to approve that we can pretty much do a full rebuild of the street garage. A full rebuild of the street garage, and has also approved that they will pay for us to have an engineer as a project manager. So that's what the project, or the professional services agreement that's in front of you. It will be reimbursed by insurance, but we wanted to get you all's approval to sign this. And it's in the amount of $80,911, and that's for the project management of getting our street garage rebuilt. That'll also help with kind of the plans and getting everything submitted to the state, the inspection process, and just kind of alleviate the staff having to be over there every day, making sure that everything's taken care of. So, like I said, this amount will be reimbursed by the insurance company. But we wanted to make sure we had your blessing to sign the agreement.
Reimburse 100%. Is it 81,000? Mr. Gick will be our PM for the project, or he just submitted the paperwork?
Yeah, got it.
Do you have a pen?
I finally got one.
I wanna know if you have a credit card went in there.
Yes, I'll be.
No, I didn't have a credit card.
For it.
Can I see it?
We have some consultants that will be working with Attica, that will be doing the architectural work, and the construction design release for it. The structural engineer, which will be, we'll be getting the boring, couple points out here, and that'll be it. So, we're working in coordination through me, everything together, so we have a good package to submit to the construction design release. We'll meet with the contractor to make sure that they have a complete understanding of what the expectations are, things as an hourly rate component, to come out for construction activities to make sure everything is being done according to the plan.
So going forward with design and so forth, so that will be presented to the council for approval of the design, or at least, and the amount thereof?
The design of the building is pretty much just bringing the current structure back to what it was before, but bringing it up to current standards.
Okay.
I guess that's up to you guys how you want that presented. The insurance company has a pre-selected contractor that's been working with, that'll be a separate item.
So what is that dollar value? Are we to that point? to know what the value is to bring it back to square?
I want to say the original plans that they sent before we went through all the contracts, that was like 400.
Well, I
But they-
guess when we get a little closer, probably need to have some dialogue and socialize that a little bit to make sure that everybody's on board with, I mean, this is gonna be 100% reimbursed by our insurance group. But, I mean, but we still have to line our Ps and Qs, so to make sure that it's follows the process on approvals, even though it's going through insurance.
And we should still get a set of prints to look at something. I mean, they're gonna have them, so I would like to see them personally. I'd like to see what this is gonna look like, because as a town, we should be a step above. We should make our stuff nice because we expect everybody else to build theirs nice. So the town needs to make sure that we're cleaning up the area, that we're keeping it, the outside matches our comprehensive plan, stuff like that. So I would really be curious just to see the plans when they get done.
Is that something that, I mean, I'd be curious too. I mean, maybe sidebar conversation when we get to that stage, take a look at it, and then whoever else wants to see it, or.
We pretty much have to go back to the same concept. If you don't, then insurance won't pay for it. But if
Okay.
you add on that we do, then the town,
But can you add on, like,
if the town pays.
Yeah, if the
Yeah,
town
that's what I'm
pays for it, yeah. I'm saying just to doll it up a little bit, because we want Culver's to build a nice building. We want anybody who comes in here to build something nice and follow our corridor on 31, make sure that it's brick and stuff like this. I think as a town, even if it costs us a little extra to make something a little nicer in that area, I think it's worth it, because we represent the town. And that's a big thing for us. We want it to look nice. It's just like the businesses around, look nice, to keep things clean, and I think it's something that we really need to think about.
well, some things might need to be updated, don't you think? No, I mean,
Yeah, they're gonna bring it all to code with electric and gas, plumbing and all that. I understand that. I'm just talking of the outside of cosmetics, what I'm kind of curious to see.
This is going to get our, I guess, our gasoline consumption and recording, and from a police perspective, getting gas, I mean, that's gonna bring that back square, right? So, is that old technology that we used to use? Do we need to consider new technology that's a little bit more?
No, the problem is we ain't got no power. And where the fuel tanks are, there's no power. So if we want to run the power over there, it's like 10 grand to have power over there.
No, I'm talking about this new facility. It's gonna have the gasoline and all that.
The gasoline, the power will be run out of that building.
Okay.
To the pumps.
yeah.
Yeah, where we can put the product up.
This is the end portion of the overall maintenance building.
Okay. All right. Brad, you had a question, or? Any other concerns over here, Tim?
No, thank you.
Have a motion on the table to engage in a professional service agreement. This was vetted by Lynn Gray. Is this the one that was vetted by Lynn Gray? Okay. Okay,
Not because of Lynn, but just go back.
yeah.
I'll move to approve.
Have a second?
A second.
Joe and Debbie, a roll call, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Deborah Henderson,
Yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
Thanks, Slim, for working on this. Been frustrating to see the end of the tunnel here, or the light in the end of the tunnel.
Delay.
Thank you.
We didn't delay the payment.
Yeah, they did.
Brightspeed.
Oh, no.
Representative?
That's what I'm saying, they
No,
expect
they
us
just
to be there.
canceled this.
Right, so it costs us in the long run. Yeah, that's not good for me.
Hello,
Hello.
Mr. President, members of Town Council. Thank you very much for hearing us out today. My name is Michelle Bezicki, and I am Government Affairs Manager for Indiana for Brightspeed. I've asked Matt Curtis to join me. He is with DirectLine. He is their Director of Operations. They are our contractor for this area for the fiber build that we are bringing to your attention. I did want to take the opportunity to thank Carmen and Billy for working with us for the past year on the planning as we kind of came to terms with what the situation here. While they did all the engineering, they met with us and have been really helpful as we plotted things out. We, attended today, we really like to have a real honest conversation about, some concerns that we have about proceeding with the direction in Whiteland, as it is, and your ordinance is currently being interpreted as it's written. Some specifics is that, we are used to working in the right of way. We do bring, a level of respect to the ordinances that are written for all of our cities and towns. We want to be good community partners as we kind of research what is involved in each city or town or county. It's always different. There's very rare do I hit the same exact situation in all of our areas. We are used to doing bonds, as many jurisdictions do require them. They're usually about $10,000 to $25,000 for that area for the build. And by how your guys' is written per cut, it would result in over $300,000 worth of bond required to proceed in Whiteland. At first, we looked at some alternate solutions, we have done, MOUs with an area for different ways that we can work with them. And we do understand that the town council is the only one who has the authority here in Whiteland to kind of grant a variance of that ordinance. So that's why Matt and I are here, to discuss any concerns you have or to discuss the situation overall. So Brightspeed is currently updating the infrastructure of our copper lines that we have in place now. So we are your local telephone company here in Whiteland. We also offer internet services, DSL when it's on the copper lines, which used to be perfectly fine. People used to be very happy with it, but as technology grew, the availability of that bandwidth just was not enough to serve what we currently have in our homes right now. Between telework, telehealth, kids working at school, kids doing homework, everybody streaming, some teenagers and some adults doing video games. We just can't have happy households with the DSL service. So Brightspeed in the 20-state footprint is putting $5 billion worth of its own private equity funds into upgrading that infrastructure to fiber. So I want to be very clear, that is our goal. We want to offer our customers here in Whiteland and in the area a fiber option. We have very reasonable rates. I understand also that you guys have other alternatives. We understand that competition is good. It's good for your guys' residents to bring down the prices. So it's just a couple facts and figures is the Whiteland build, if we could have aerial and underground, the full build would be almost 4,000 homes and businesses in the area. If we need to cut out the underground portion, we would be able to serve about 566. So it significantly reduces the amount of people that we can bring that fiber internet option to. I have a small packet of information. I know it's really nice out, and I don't serve custard or cheese curds, so I don't have the attention of the Culver's people, but we do have some information about what our certificate of insurance covers. As we were talking to the town, the concerns are very valid, but they are things that we would actually refer to our insurance instead of being a bond. The bond is generally for public funds being used if the company goes out of business or is a disaster. So I brought Matt here to fully assure you that we won't be a disaster. They have been very impressive and they have been doing good work all over the state and country, but I've been part of it in the state. Everybody's always been happy. They provide a contact line, an email address for directly responsive to any concerns that people have with their, the residents in their homes. Or as the city or town, if they find an issue, they resolve it very quickly. We have very high expectations of our contractors, where I think that everybody walks around leaving the place better than they found it. We also, as we go on, they will update and they will point out issues that we have with our current copper infrastructure. So they'll point out if something needs to be replaced, if we have low-hanging wire, stuff like that. So we have done a lot of good work in the area, especially Fortville and Walkerton are two great examples where we do actually leave it better than we found it, because the CenturyLink previously owned this infrastructure and did not take the best care of it, and that is not us. We really do want to be good community partners, like you said, and make sure that things look nice and things are working well. So with that, the bond is usually 10 to 25,000. We have been working with the town on maybe doing the project in rolling phases. If you guys did want a bond, we got approval for 40,000, which is really unheard of in our company, but that is what we were able to secure. We have already added you to our certificate of insurance that has a $3.5 million policy per incident. So if that's not overall, that's actually per issue that you guys have. We have a third-party administrator, so you have the right to claim on insurance without even going through us. You can work with us if you want, or you can go to the third-party administrator to file that claim. And they have a typical turnaround time of 30 days, which is actually less than the bond would if you were to put a claim in with a bond. The process is about the same. The bond actually will end after 2 years, whereas our certificate of insurance has a lifetime coverage. The only limitation is the statute of limitations that everybody is bound to in Indiana. If you have any questions, I can answer the kind of the logistics stuff, and Matt here can answer any kind of technical questions you have, but we would be happy to field any questions or conversation you have about the situation.
Just a couple things. So I believe this was addressed in last month's meeting to the certain extent of protecting the town and so forth. And I believe there was conversation about doing camera before and after was kind of the determination that this panel had suggested that possibly that we should probably entertain going forward. Just recently this week, I received a text that somebody had hit our line. And we just, through no part of our own, we just basically through trial and error have just located that and found out there was a problem. Almost 6 months, is that true? 6 months, or it was months, weeks or something after the fact of somebody doing that. So it kind of puts us in a difficult situation to have that present day text of this issue. And then you folks coming here and asking for kind of leniency on a policy that, quite frankly, I lean towards trust and verifying and making sure that we are protected as a town going forward. I personally like the camera before and the after, and the bonding protects us. I'm not so sure where you're going with the 10 to 25 bond, and you can only go a smaller portion. Collectively, I think we're on the same page that we need to make sure that the best interest of the town is protected, unless something has changed from last month that I'm not aware of.
I guess I'd be curious to have our legal counsel review their certificate of insurance and see what protection that provides comparable to, I mean, a bond is fundamentally an insurance policy as well.
Yeah.
See whether or not there's comparable protections to the town or not.
We can do that.
The only thing, I work in the utility side of this, okay, and I'm not a fan of giving any, and I'll tell you why. In our area, I didn't find out till 6 years later that they run a phone line through a sewer. 6 years, and I understand that, and this Cameron thing is a good thing. We just found gas, hit our sewer by Cameron, our guys did. I've run into personal issues in our area that Cameron's the only way we're going to protect the town. I mean, I hate to say it, because I mean, just recently, we had people in putting new internet. And I know myself, I deal with 6 hits. That's just what I dealt with over there. And that's water main, sewer laterals, this and that. Because when you come in, you guys hire all these subs to start boring. And a lot of the subs don't take time to look for the utilities. They think they know where they are. They shoot across it, and then we end up suffering for it. It got to the point where now everybody's just got to open every utility up. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of changing. I mean, I'll flat out say it. If you want, I'm voting no. And that's just because I'm being honest, because I deal with this daily. And I know what our guys are going to deal with daily. And it might not be something just like the power pole. We learned that it was hit and didn't know until we found out. And this is how we're going to catch a lot of this stuff. That we're not going to see it until it's too late, until we got a customer's home basement backing up in his house because his sewer lateral was hit and we didn't know it, or his T was busted where they went across it and we didn't find it. So I'm not a firm believer in, and whatever we say here sets precedent for every other utility company that wants to come and work in our right of way.
So the camera work is not in the ordinance.
Right.
And I'm just being as honest as I can, like, that is not something that Brightspeed does. It is
Correct.
just, the cost of doing business, it is not, possible in the equation. We did have a project in Franklin that, we did camera work in. That was the only instance that I have in the entire company, and that was, when I researched it, because I was like, you're gonna do it in Franklin, why aren't you gonna do it in Whiteland? And I learned that the developer of the subdivision is the one who asked for that project, and the camera work part was included in the cost of the project.
Right, and I understand the Cameron's not in there. It's probably gonna be in there going forward because everybody's thinking it here, and it's probably gonna be in there next time. And so the thing about it is, for us to give on that bond, I'm just not a firm believer on changing things, but I'm just one person. You know, I know the trouble that we're gonna run into. I just, it's an awkward feeling knowing that they're gonna come here and then things are gonna get hit and then we're not gonna find out, and it makes me nervous for our residents. I understand Cameron's not in there,
I
but.
totally understand that. I'm speaking of the bond versus the insurance because the bond actually does not cover damage, it only covers workmanship.
I agree with that, but whatever we give, it seems like they want us to give on this one, then we're gonna have to give on this one, and then we're giving, it's set there for a reason. It was stated for a reason, they put it in there for a reason. So I don't know what the reasoning is, but I've gotta take their lead. If they say this is how they liked it, then that's what I'll follow.
I'd just like to make one other point. So, I think this has been socialized with Billy and Carmen on kind of potential expectations. And sometimes, I consider myself kind of part-time on the council. I don't work 40, 50 hours a week. I mean, sometimes I do, but not specifically here. Sometimes you stumble on things with our ordinance that come to light. It's like, oh, wow. That's very, very lenient, or we should really take a consideration and upgrade that because it's gonna catch us and get us in a pickle. I consider this one of these situations, and it's my understanding that Billy and Carmen have socialized this, that this is something that we've kind of stumbled on. It doesn't meet the expectations of the current council going forward, so we have to do what's best for the town, and I think making adjustments that are very lenient to cover us into the future is a respectful process that needs to be done. One question to Slim. So the text that I got here, what's it gonna cost us to potentially fix that, labor, equipment, man hours, compared to a $40,000 bonding capacity? Is it tit for tat?
$6,000.
We're how much?
For 1 day.
6,000
$6,000,
for 1 day.
just 1 day.
Where are we at as far as whoever hit that? Paying for it.
Bill wrote out. We're still waiting on it to settle.
And how long is it gonna take to recoup our funds of the $6,000 that we spent with time, effort, potential legal letters and so forth?
I'd say a couple of weeks.
I mean, so that $6,000 doesn't,
I mean, it's approved, but
yeah.
we're doing your check.
So if you potentially did that 30, 40, 50 times during the process of Brightspeed doing this, I mean, you can see how the amount of money would pile up pretty quick. And it kind of puts us in a pickle, legal standpoint, manpower, and financially, to try to recoup our money, where if we just have an agreement that you have an understanding of what we're trying to do in camera before and after, it satisfies the requirement if
If it was.
I completely understand your comments on the camera work. My comments are just
Just on the
on
bottom.
the insurance versus the bond. Just letting you know that the certificate of insurance for $3.5 million is even better than your bond requirement.
So how come you qualify for $3.5 million on a certificate of insurance, but not on a bond?
It's you only have a certain amount of bonding available, and so it's just like you can't get for a car. My car's worth $20,000. I can't insure it for $100,000. The bonding company only wants to cover what would be the damages. So we are not building, we're not building a new high school. We're not building a new fire station. We're using just our private funds, so it's supposed to cover the damage if like the grass needs to be resodded, or if there is an issue in the street, because these cuts are only gonna be like if we walk away, the money you need to kind of repair it, the actual damages would be covered by the insurance. And that's one of the things that our risk department wanted to make very clear, is that a city can have, a $10,000 bond. If they try to make a claim on that was damage, the bonding company would reject it because the bond doesn't cover damage, it just covers workmanship. Whereas our insurance company will cover damages and workmanship.
Yeah, but you bore Whiteland Road and you hit a storm in there and we don't find out for a little while. Then we just got a blowhole there where it's all sucking through. And now we got to shut down Whiteland Road and we got to come in there and get traffic rerouted and all that. And then we got to dig up that flowable fill. You're looking at a bigger cost than $40,000.
And that's exactly why the bond still would not cover, that would be an insurance claim. No matter what your bond, if you require $10,000 or $300,000 for something like that, the bond company would reject that claim and say that's insurance, and it would be an insurance claim. That our insurance would cover, because it's damage. And we have a rider for workmanship, so they can't, balance it one way or the other. The insurance covers it all.
So you're saying if our guys had to go out there and we fix that road, that your insurance would write the town a check? Because the bond's what we pull and do the work if we can't get you to do it and pay the work. So that's what I'm curious.
Most likely, we would fix it without even making an insurance claim. If it does hit that threshold where our risk people are like, this is worthy of a claim, it would be insurance. The only thing, like the insurance has, there's an indefinite amount. If the work was done this year, the only limitation is the statute of limitations by law.
What's your turnaround rate on fixing a problem? If you hit a sewer line or hit a main line?
Well, if we hit a main line, we're probably gonna be working with the city anyways. For it there, I mean, realistically, we're not going to go and open up a street. If a main line, will be extremely unfortunate, was hit, the first call is gonna be the city, because we're not gonna get in there and start messing with the city's main line without doing anything like that.
Correct.
Depending upon the city or the town, some will say, hey, we want your help. You've got extra manpower and everything, lend us a hand while you're doing this. Okay, no problem. We caused the damage, we're gonna help fix it. Or some towns say, you know what, no, we're here now, take a step back, just don't hit it again. And then they take over from there and they send the bill.
I mean, it's that simple. If it's a sewer lateral, town doesn't cover. Going up to a property owner or homeowner, I should say, to their house, then there, as soon as we're aware of it, we either, one, fix it ourselves, or their property owner is okay with that, for it there, or we just bring in a local plumbing company. There, we always figure out who all the local plumbing companies are before we come into any place there, because a lot of times, they're gonna know where a lot of things are at anyways, or they're gonna know problem areas and stuff like that, so we try to talk to them before we even start.
Okay, now are your guys going to locate every lateral? Because the thing about this, we don't locate laterals, we locate the T. And we're only responsible for the T. So that means you guys should, by rights, hire a third party, or you guys do it and locate every lateral on every road that you're boring to make sure that you know where they're at, because we're not responsible for it. And are we responsible for the water line going up to the houses where there's a shutoff? See, so there's two utilities that you guys will be responsible to hook to and find. That's not our responsibility.
Actually, by law, the homeowners, the property owner's required to find it. But there's not a property owner out there that knows where it's at. So we go from the taps and we start looking. It's not a valid locate ticket because it's not something that can be valid located because it's a service, all right? But we still do our best to try to locate each and every one of them. Are we 100%? I won't lie to you and say that we've never missed one and everything else, and that we haven't hit someone. No, of course we have. It happens. We make sure it's repaired and it's taken care of, whether we have to do it, bring in, local plumbing company, contact the water department to work with them there. We don't want to leave a wake of destruction. That's the last thing we want to do. Direct Line, we've been doing this since 1986. We're an Indiana-based company. I'm based out of Fort Wayne. Our corporate office is in Mishawaka. Not right next door, but we're an actual Indiana company. We're not going to disappear tomorrow on it there. So it's in our best interest also to not leave, like I said, a wake of destruction behind us there. So we do everything we can to minimize the impact, not just to the town, but to the individual property owners, because chances are we're working in their front yard. They're the ones that have to see it all the time there. So we do what we can to alleviate really any of those pain points.
Right, and I've never heard of a homeowner being responsible for their water service, and I've been doing this a long time, because technically, if you're calling it a locates, then it's your responsibility to find all the services, not the homeowner, because he's not digging in his yard, and he can't dig up on your locates, because that's against the law. So the point is, I've never seen where, and I've done a lot of utility work, that it's actually the homeowner's responsibility to locate it. Now, I know if it's in an easement, if it's a sprinkler or something like that, and it gets ripped out, that's the homeowner's responsibility because it isn't an easement. But if it's hit in that easement, it's your guys' responsibility to locate that. And I could be wrong, because I've not seen it changed, but I know that's how other areas do it.
What the actual rules are, and then what we have to practice every day are different. They are. I mean, since the city or municipality, I should say, let's classify it better, municipality does not locate those lines or own those lines, that's on the property owner to know where those lines are at, to make repairs if something goes bad. Just like if their line freezes and it's past the T, past the tap,
Correct.
Then they're responsible for it.
Correct.
The same thing happens with locates. Realistically, we're all in the real world here. We know that's not going to happen. I mean, so underground, companies like myself, any of the subcontractors that are contracted with us to work with us, we have to go above and beyond, because we're the only ones who are going to be able to figure it out. The homeowner's not going to help us there.
Oh, yeah, homeowners are unaware. They see a clean out cap and that's all they know.
It's usually covered up by some landscaping.
Mulch or buried in the ground. Mine was busted when I got my house, so.
We're talking about locates in an easement, so, correct?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
We're talking about locates in an easement.
right.
Correct. Well,
Yeah, if it's a private homeowner line that's running through a utility easement, yeah.
That's what we're talking
private
about.
homeowner lines, yeah.
How would my house get to it?
Get to what?
I'm not on an easement. So if I wanted to do Brightspeed, they'd have to dig through my yard.
We wouldn't be, the work we're doing would be working within the right of way or the easements. That's the only work we're doing.
So then it wouldn't be accessible to me.
It would. The project that we're presenting at this point is the backbone of the system. When a customer does call an order in, our local technicians come on site, assess the situation, and then make a plan for how to get
And then they
that,
knife it in about that deep.
get that drop.
And they knife it in about that deep. So technically, it won't, yeah, it won't hurt your lateral because your lateral, the rules are it's gotta be at least 2 foot by the house and then goes down from there. So when they knife it in, they only knife it in about that deep. Most utility companies do. It's not deep. Correct.
All right, so to like move this thing along, I mean, like, I like the idea of them bringing additional services, certainly having more options for the residents of the town of Whiteland, I think is a fantastic thing. It's going to do nothing but like help control costs for the long term for people. I'm concerned about like, you know, like, okay, if we're gonna, you know, go against our ordinance, they're suggesting that this insurance policy may be more than satisfactory. I don't know enough about it. If, you know, Mr. Watson is able to evaluate that and advise that this is good, then I mean, I think moving forward with a project that's going to provide additional options to our residents is reasonable. Again, based upon the fact that like he says, like this is going to help cover us in the event that the unusual situations that Tim has described happen. So I don't know. Like,
I would wanna see council's opinion of the protections in the certificate of insurance. Because it is a strange ordinance that we have, that's a bond attached to the permit. I see these more in the, like if they're cutting through our sidewalk, where you have property that is inherently being damaged and replaced. So I would, before I made a decision whether to support or not, I would want review of the certificate of insurance.
Is that something you could provide us and that within at next month's meeting on your analysis?
I would think so.
And then we could, I guess, table the discussion based on that and then make a decision on one way or the other, if that's acceptable or not.
Good.
I think it goes for your consideration. I will connect with our risk team who's way smarter than me on these things
And we would need to see more than just the certificate of insurance.
whatever you need, we'll make it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
No.
Carmen?
You all have my report, but I did add, on the second page, a request to dispose of 7, pieces, or the laptop on there. So I would ask, these are, there's 2 laptops. These are all valued at under $500. We don't technically have to bring this to you, but we've been doing this, especially with our computer list. And so I would ask if I have approval to dispose of those 7 computers and miscellaneous keyboards, mice, and wires.
I will make a motion to authorize that. Second.
Joe and Brad, and roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Joe Baker,
yes.
Jennifer Hendrickson.
Didn't we replace Angie's and deputy clerk and all of those at the same time?
No, so the admin laptop, actually, that is like the ancient, I think it was old fire department laptop. It's the big monster that like Katie used to use, and it's so.
Okay.
And these other ones, like the quartermaster, deputy chief, those were through the tornado, so we're not using those, and then.
So is she getting another laptop then?
We haven't been using that laptop, the dinosaur.
Okay, you're just getting rid of it, that's all.
Yeah, we're just wanting to dispose of it.
Are any of these being replaced?
They already have them. Slim got a new laptop, and then Brian's computer's been replaced as well. So,
Okay, okay.
don't worry, we're not making them go back to.
Can you restate your opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Joe Saylor,
Yes.
Richard Hill,
Yes.
pass 5-0.
And then Sam and I will tag team this next one because he knows more of the mechanical side of it than I do. But our engine 71, our main engine, has one head gasket. There's no work. I provided you with the quote that provided to me. That the repairs, minus tax, we're looking at $30,902.47. I'm gonna have discussions with each of you earlier today, on some options. But at this point, we would like to request, that we can proceed with getting this repaired, using the fire fume funds to pay for this repair. Like I said, Slim knows more of the deets on, what exactly is going on.
35.
Just so you know, this fire truck is beyond its set life, but it is still our primary engine. Currently, they're running engine 72.
That looks like it's a full rebuild supposed to it, right?
Yeah, the shims that, well, I think this happened, the shims that go under the ladder, it's such a height. I think the shims went bad, it's one of them, and it's combusted, compression. It started eating the ring on the head gasket because the ground it started eating that ring out. And it started shutting oil out between the head and the block.
So it's oil, it's leaking, not coolant?
Yeah, oil. You pretty much have to get some oil engine to impact it.
Well, and it looks like they're gonna rebuild. Look like.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna do the whole engine.
All the way down.
Where's this gonna come from? Fire cube.
What kind of warranty does it have on the rebuild, parts, labor?
I don't know that, I'm sure there's probably 6 months to a year.
It's in a tiny print on the back.
Yeah.
My eyesight might have gone.
Back here?
Yeah, right there.
In the past, I worked on cars and did some work with Crosspoint, and they were always pretty good about if you know, something went wrong, bring it back up here and they would take care of it. So I assume that
So is anything being refurbished or is it all brand new? Where you clean up the crank, clean up the heads?
They're just redoing it, rebuilding.
redo the head, valves,
Had 90 days, 25,000 miles and 900 hours for cruise first.
Could gossip found that?
I do have to read these things for a living from time to time.
But we don't have like another alternative, right? And I assume it's probably,
Not unless I went to Terre Haute and found another
yeah.
thing to put in there. You're still the same.
I think you're better off to rebuild it. You know, the engine comes with it. We've all done it. You've done it. My point is are we keeping up with the maintenance on this? Is it getting its maintenance every time and stuff like that?
They're constantly working on stuff.
Okay. That's how it is at our firehouse too. You always go by and it seems like they're working on one truck or another, so.
Sometimes it's at the point where we should have 2 mechanics maybe, so something maybe.
Do we service it ourselves?
A lot of times, yeah. And if that's question, they call me. Just because I don't think
But now,
VCL.
we are looking for a new mechanic, I take it. Okay. And will this mechanic be certified in diesel trucks? ASE certified?
Diesel, gas, and small.
But he's gonna be certified. Because I would think if we're not getting a certified mechanic and they're working on these trucks, it puts a liability on the town. If someone drives through a break and a brake don't work, I would have thought that our mechanics should be certified because we're taking a lot of responsibility on the town to put it on their police cars, your guys' vehicles and stuff like that, not having a certified mechanic.
Certified done correct too.
And you know what? So does a life. And I'd rather make sure that it's certified and that's done correctly than I would just someone that don't know what they're doing or, you know, like me, I'm a backyard mechanic. I get it. I am definitely a backyard mechanic. But I think certifications, we're not even allowed to touch our trucks anymore over where I work because we're not certified. They don't want to take the chance on our insurance company that we do the brakes, something goes bad. But I would just say if we're gonna get a mechanic, we ought to step it up and pay a little extra and get it certified.
I would anticipate that whoever we hired would have the ASC general tax certification. I mean,
Well, it's not been in the past.
brakes are the same on a diesel versus a gas or whatnot, that sort of stuff. I don't know that they have to have every different ASC sub-certification, but
But they should be certified in these diesel for these fire trucks. Because fire trucks are running down the road, police cars are running down the road, flying, hit a brakes. I mean, you're wearing them in pretty quick. That's just my suggestion. Like I said, if we're gonna hire a mechanic, I think with Slim's knowledge on trucks, we all know your background was mechanical. And you should be able to find you a good mechanic. And if you have to pay a little more, I mean, unfortunately, to get a good mechanic, it's probably worth it in the long run. Just my opinion, to be safer for our guys.
I'll move to approve the expenditure laid out in the sales and service contract with Cummins for engine 71 from Fire Cume.
Brad second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Brown,
Yes.
Brad Gooddecker,
Yes.
Deborah Hendrickson,
Yes.
Chris Taylor,
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
No, I got a question for Slim. I've got several calls about a manhole smelling over in this area. Okay, and I told him I'd check with you and see what's going on, how we're corrected. They say they can't even sit on their porch.
We've been talking about doing like an injection. And we can kill that smell.
It's a kind of an ongoing conversation. But we'll have to look probably harder into it. Getting that done, we'll do the lift station. We'll put those sheets.
Now, is this, and I don't know our system, but is this where we're pumping into that manhole? And
Interstate lift station comes in.
okay, so that's being such a long line, it's stagnant, sits there until it finally builds enough pressure and push on. So I'm assuming that's where the smells are coming from, because we injected for a while too. I mean, it just,
That's what we're kind of been talking about doing, is maybe looking at doing injection on it.
okay. It's something we probably ought to stay up on, because they call me in. I had 3 phone calls and they said, who's over us over on this end? Who represents our side? So I figure I'd just bring it up and talk to you, and that way, if people take time to watch the meeting, they'll know that you're actually looking in to get it and take care of, hopefully by summer. Because on them hot days, it's even worse.
There you go. Tell them to watch the
Hopefully the
meeting.
lift station will be done,
They're waiting on power, so.
waiting on Duke.
Yeah,
That could be a while.
they're kind of planning like 4 weeks, 5 weeks out.
Yeah, we ran into the same thing with our water tower. 7 weeks out.
But that's what they're saying, the earliest they might do the plan.
Okay. That was my only concern, is that smell.
Slim, thanks for sending an update to the council on your projects. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I did too.
Anything else for Slim? Any questions?
I also liked where the county, oh my gosh, he sent us an email. The county guy telling us what was going, oh man, I don't remember what he,
Creek, when they dyed it today, they're coming up.
I don't know, we got an email and he was just informing us of everything that was going on, and I,
In the county.
Corner.
Corner did,
That's it.
yeah, the corner.
Yeah.
Now, and he's planning to do that monthly, and I believe the Daily Journal may have printed it or published it as well, or shared it on their social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Shipp, do you have anything, sir?
I have nothing.
You're doing okay?
I'm good.
Good to see you, sir.
How's the dog?
I'm good.
All right.
So
It's a
nothing,
good day when the dog's good.
nothing from your boss. I see she's not here, so I guess, okay.
He let her have the night, or she took the night off.
Couldn't, okay. And Mr. Funkhauser's not here, so.
Nope.
Any, council comment at all?
Nope.
Any public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.